Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here. On today's episode, I'm super excited. I've got an unboxing of a new piece of gear that I just picked up. I've been doing research on electric chainsaws because I've had my Black & Decker 20 volt for about a year and a half now. It's been a great chainsaw, still love it, but it's a little underpowered. There's just some things about it. It has a 10-inch bar, so it's a little bit short. So, it works pretty well for processing like firewood and stuff, but not very useful if you came across like a good sized down tree or anything like that. So today, I'm going to be unboxing and talking a little bit about the one I decided on and just picked up, which is the Hychika 14-inch bar double battery electric chainsaw. So if you want to learn more about this chainsaw and sort of see the features and all that good stuff, stay tuned. And then later on, I'll be doing a more longer term review, showing it in use and stuff on my next trip. So let's get into it. All Things Overlanding is brought to you by some fantastic companies. You should definitely check out the description and click through their links to see all the awesome stuff they offer. Companies like Red Arc for all your overlanding power management needs. Last US Bag, tons of amazing quality overlanding bags. Rugged Bound Supply Company, rooftop tents, awnings, roof racks, and more. And Northology Overland, guided overlanding trips and a free overlanding magazine. So here are some of the nice features of this chainsaw and kind of some of the reasons that I ended up picking this up versus some of the competitors. Like a lot of them, it does have a brushless motor, which puts out a little bit higher torque and also creates less heat so you can run it for longer, which is a nice feature. Also, the brushless motor just makes it so that it lasts longer. It's basically a longer lasting motor, which is a great design. Another cool thing about the chainsaw that is a step up from my old Black & Decker is that it has two different speeds that you can run it at. And it will also simultaneously take both 4,000 milliamp batteries at the same time. So you've got more torque, more power, better cutting ability. So that's just really, really cool. And the fact that you can run it on two speeds is kind of nice too, because then you can adjust based on what you're trying to do. Cut on a lower speed if you're trying to conserve battery, maybe just processing wood, or if you're trying to get something through something bigger and you need to cut faster and need more power, you can bump up the power to the second speed. The other thing that I like about this chainsaw that's really similar to my Black & Decker is that it has the sort of toolless chain tensioner on it. So it's basically like a big switch on the side of the chainsaw that allows you to tighten and loosen the tension on the chain. On my gas chainsaw, you have to actually take a whole cover off and then use a special tool to loosen and tighten bolts and then pull the blade, the bar out, to tighten it down. And it's just, you can't do that on site without the special tool and without a bunch of extra work. So it's just kind of nice that you can really quickly adjust, tighten it up, turn the knob, and you're done. So what comes in the box? Let's talk about that. So one thing to be aware of is you do get one charger for the batteries. Now remember, it runs on two. So you're going to have to charge one up and then you're going to have to swap it to the other one. So you just need to be aware of that. You can buy a second one. I'll put a link in the description below to where you can pick up a second charger if you want to. I'm just going to kind of take turns with it and swap one on, swap one off, and be ready to go. You do get two of these 4 milliamp hour batteries, which is really nice. The other cool thing that I like about these is that they've got sort of a power checker on the end. So you can hold this button and it will tell you how much power is in the battery. So you know if it's charged or not, which is really cool. And then of course you have the chainsaw itself. It does come disassembled just slightly, but it's really easy to put together. So it comes with the blade, the bar, separate with the tensioner thing on the back. So you have to put the chain on. And then of course you've got the main body of the chainsaw, which as you can see, there's a spot for a battery here. And then on the other side, there's a spot for another battery, which, if you're like me and you're big on power, that's pretty cool, right? I just pictured Tim the Toolman Taylor from whatchamacallit going, ho, ho. That's what I'm thinking when I have this chainsaw. But so really nice design. It's a good looking chainsaw. I like the red and green. I think it's a nice look. The brake feels really solid. It actually feels more solid than my Black & Decker, I will say. But so a nice little unit overall. So again, I'm going to put this together. I'm going to show you the whole thing and I'll show it in action here in just a second. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you kind of how this goes together. So again, if you just bought this chainsaw and you're watching this video for that reason, this is that part. As I mentioned, it comes with the bar. There's a nice little sheath for it. With this wheel at the back. So all we're going to do is take this out of the bag. Then on this side where you have the sort of hand screw part, you just need to screw that all the way out, lefty-loosey, right? Until that part comes off. Then the chain or the bar, it's going to go on here with, you'll see there's a little bolt in here that goes right through the middle of the hole in this little wheel, if you will. So basically we're going to put that right through the middle there. Put that on. Then you're going to take your chain, You can take your chain out of the bag. I find that the easiest way to do this is just to sort of lay it down in your lap. Set that thing on there. And then what you're going to want to do is basically get the chain around that back wheel. You'll see it kind of has, it's almost like a paddle wheel. So you're going to want to get your teeth on those, the little wheel parts of the back thing there. And then you're going to want to put it on the front of the bar. So then basically what happens is as you turn this adjuster here, it loosens and tightens the bar. So it moves it up and down. So you can see it. I've lined up the teeth of the chainsaw blade in the grooves on the bar, and then on that wheel, if you will, on the back, which is actually where the motor is going to spin the chainsaw, right? And then as you start to turn this wheel, it tightens the chain. So make sure that it all the way down and up lines up in the grooves of the bar, right? Once you've got that in the bar and around that wheel at the back, aka the motor, then you're good to go. So mine is in the bar now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on, because basically what this does is exactly what I just did, right? I manually tightened it by spinning that wheel. But this thing basically does that exact thing. That's what's spinning this thing. So you do want to make sure that it's pushed all the way on so that this can grip it. So just push it all the way on there and then start spinning this, and you'll feel it grip onto the screws there. Now again, you got to make sure that your chain is on the bar all the way around, which it is. And then when you tighten it, and again, I'm no chainsaw expert here, so if you guys have feedback on this, let me know. But my understanding is you want it to be just a little bit loose, right? That may even be a tiny bit too tight. You want it just to be a little bit loose so you can pull it away, so that it can get, you know, a little bit of flex, but a little bit of slack, but you don't want it to be like loose. So you basically just tighten it up until you've got just a little bit of slack on it like that, and then you should be good to go. Again, it's really nice since it's toolless and you've got this thing. You just, you know, tighten it up when you want it to get tighter, loosen it when you want it to get looser, and that's it. All right, so now let's throw these batteries on here. They're only partially charged, but I just want to show you how it works. So again, on each side you slide a battery down. On the other side, slide the battery down. It's kind of wicked. It's got, you know, a battery on each side. It does have this little, on this side, you'll see this little button. That is just a safety thumb button, so you'll want to push that. Then this button that you can see glowing here, green, and then red, is your eco button. So this is how you select the mode that you want. You do have to push that for it to start. Otherwise, it's going to seem like it doesn't want to start. But once you get it in either eco or full speed mode, then it will run. And this thing runs, man. I mean, that's pretty, it's got a lot of power, a lot more power than my old Black & Decker for sure. Now, before you go out and start running this, you do want to make sure that you put chain oil in it. Over here on this side of the chainsaw, you'll see this little red cap. That's where you fill the chain oil. You just unscrew this here. It has a little thing on it so you can't lose the cap. Pour your chain oil in there. Just make sure that stays topped off so that your bar is lubricated. And that's pretty much all you have to worry about. That's part of why I love electric chainsaws so much, is I have a gas one too, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to start every time. Like, you gotta throttle, you know, pull out your throttle, you gotta do all this stuff, pull out the choke, do this, do that, start it, shut it off, etc., etc. It's just a lot harder to get started and use. Whereas with the electrics, you throw your batteries on there, you know, in this one it's a little bit more complex because you gotta pick eco or full speed, and or eco or power. But then you just run it, you know? It's because it's electric, it's on or off. There's no messing with fuel and oil and all that stuff. You just keep it topped off with bar oil and you're good to go. All right, guys. So you can see this log right here, probably about 3.5, 4 inches in diameter. So green, the green light is eco. If you push it again, it goes to red. That's like full power mode. So I'm gonna put it in eco mode just to show you what that's like. So let's cut through this first. Put your finger on the thumb trigger here on the side and then just pull the trigger. So you can see, even in eco mode, that is pretty good. Not too shabby. So we're gonna move up the log here. This is actually a little bit thicker up here, but I'm gonna put it in full power mode and we'll see how that does. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So, again, compared to my Black & Decker, this thing is a monster. This thing kills the Black & Decker. It is pretty close to being as much of a monster as the gas chainsaw. So I'm actually really impressed with that. And after just a few cuts, I didn't do too much. All the batteries still show totally full. All right, guys, so final thoughts on the Hychika double 20 volt, aka 40 volt chainsaw. I love this thing, right? Like, it meets in the middle of my 19-inch bar gas chainsaw and my 10-inch bar Black & Decker. Has a ton more power than the Black & Decker. I did a few test cuts before I shot this video. Then I did the few that I did during the video, and both these batteries still show full. So, I think that you've got a pretty good amount of capacity between the two batteries. Because you've got both batteries, you've got a pretty good amount of capacity for power on the chainsaw. So overall, I really like this thing. The only sort of complaint or concern I would say is that my Black & Decker does not leak any bar oil at all. Like, it doesn't. I can put it in my truck, it's not going to leak. This thing though, the minute that I put the chain oil in it, it started to leak. So if you can see there on the bottom, it's coming out the bottom. And now I don't know if that's just like intentional because it's oiling the bar, and maybe I ran it a time or two inside my house. I actually had this thing sitting on my carpet and I did not realize that it was leaking. And then when I went to move it, the carpet was soaked with oil, so I had to clean off the carpet. So again, be very, very careful. If you're gonna store this thing somewhere, you just gotta be careful. I don't think it's a problem. There's still, in the fluid chamber, there's still tons and tons of fluid. So it's not like it's leaking, gallons and gallons, but over days, it can definitely add up, and it could, damage your carpet or anything like that if you're keeping it inside. So as long as you're keeping it in the back of a truck or in a garage or something like that, you'll probably be okay. But I would recommend checking your bar oil every time you're going to use this thing, which you should do anyways, but just check it and make sure that you haven't leaked all of it out, and be careful how you store it. But aside from that one little small thing, I really like this thing. I'm excited. I think this will probably become my main chainsaw, because the gas one had more power. The 10-inch blade was kind of short. This one's right in the middle. I think this will be a really nice add for processing wood and just camping and overlanding in general. So again, I hope all that information is helpful for you. If you have any questions about this thing, post up in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. There will be a link in the description below too, so if you want to pick one up, they're actually really affordable. They're about the same amount of money as my Black & Decker one was, right around or just over $100. So again, for the money too, comes with both batteries and comes with a charger. It's a steal, in my opinion. So definitely do recommend this thing. I think it's great. I will let you know. I'll probably do a long-term review. I've only had this thing for about a month now. I've used it a few times, but I will probably do a long-term review in about 6 to 9 months and let you know how it's held up over the winter, because I do a lot of winter camping. So if you're not already, make sure to click that subscribe button, click the bell to be notified when new videos drop. I drop a couple videos every week, from gear reviews to trip reviews to general overlanding stuff. I focus primarily on budget overlanding and like weekend warrior style overlanding. So if you're like me and you've got a full-time job, but you try and get out as many times as you can on weekends or overnighters, that kind of thing, there's going to be a ton of content for you here. Do-it-yourself mods, again, budget-minded stuff. So if any of that stuff sounds interesting to you, check out the links in the description below to come hang out on Facebook, Instagram. There's a podcast that I do. There's also a Patreon page and a Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. So tons and tons of options and ways for you guys to join the conversation. So check out those links in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.